Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be breaking down the Quinn of Pain. This was a 8-pick Queen of Pain, and I think the casters at the time were doubting the pick a little bit, and I don't blame them. I believe they said that Quap hadn't won a single game throughout the tournament, and I generally believe Quap is one of the worst heroes in Dota. So why am I making a video about it? Well, two reasons. Number one, Quinn popped off. Number two, I think this hero will get buffed in how many days? 3 days? Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm done with this patch. All right. So nonetheless, let's quickly get into the draft. I'm only going to spend a brief moment on it. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like literally with the Game Leap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the Game Leap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. So how the draft went was first pick Broodmother, response Batrider, Treant Protector. Why Queen of Pain into these two heroes? I actually don't think Quap is that great into Treant because she cannot take buildings against Treant. However, you have the Brood for that. And Overgrowth is a pretty good spell against Treant Protector. So I don't think Queen of Pain is like insane against Treant, outside of the fact that of course your hero just does magic and pure damage, which is very good against living armor. However, the main reason why they picked Queen of Pain here is for Batrider. It wins the lane very hard. And when your opening draft is Brood, and then you can 8-pick another lane core winning matchup, you're setting yourself up for a tempo draft. I actually very much felt, like I called it, it's easy for me to say, maybe you guys won't believe me, but I called it after I was done watching the draft. I said, a lot of the casters were saying, I'll start with this, were saying like, oh, you know, Entity's draft looks kind of better, you know, they got their comfort, you know, Queen of Pain has no wins, and, you know, they pick Naga, and then they pick Furion. It's like, how in the world are you dealing with this Naga? But the reality is, you're first picking Brood, which is a hero that plays extraordinarily high tempo, and wins almost any lane, or draws almost any lane, right, at worst. And then you have Queen of Pain, who beats Batrider potentially very hard, which he does. And then you had a Furion, who is hard to last pick counter, and they lost that lane as well. They had potentially 3, and I don't think Naga beats Brood in lane. It can, but not necessarily. I don't think Treant is actually the best pairing to beat Brood. I really don't. I think Treant is actually, it's okay against Brood. It's okay. I would say it's in between, but it doesn't dominate the Brood. And that's the big thing. So you had 3 winning lanes off the bat, and I think that's the reason why the Queen of Pain can be really good on first pick 8 here against the Treant and the Batrider. It's high tempo. Treant can't play high tempo for the most part. He's more about defending objectives and working towards that overgrowth, and so let's get into it. So first things first, the Queen of Pain is blocking a little bit, but most importantly, his item build, very heavy stats. Does have the bottle queued up, but very heavy stats. Not actually queuing up the wand here, seemingly just saying, okay, stick is enough, I'll pop my stick at 10 charges or less. I don't need to upgrade to the full wand. Typically it's something you would do because of slots, but in that case you would have 3 branches, so you can still eat one of the branches. We'll see what he does, but level 1 dagger is the standard. And the reason why Quap beats Batrider mid is basically just because you can blink away from the napalm, and so you can trade into the napalm very heavily early on, right? A lot of heroes, if they build up 6-7 napalm, they have to disengage, right? Quap can kind of stand her ground, dagger, hit, and then blink away, pop stick, and you're winning the trade. Also, your dagger heals you, right? And so your hero just kind of out-trades Bat in general. I think Stormer does a pretty good job of abusing the early, napalm. At the end of the day, you don't have blink until level 2, so Stormer, being a great Batrider player, does build up to 6 stacks, but eventually, especially as you get to level 3 on Quap, the lane gets hard. And from there, I think the reason why he buys so much stats is just to contest every CS. Batrider's animation and base damage is not so great, and so you definitely can abuse the hero at least somewhat hard. The next thing that Quinn does that's really high skill is he backs off this wave coming out of the tower. If Batrider is to get another stack of sticky napalm here, the lane is over. And I'm not over exaggerating. At the highest level, the lane comes down to these small things, okay? It would end. If he gets 6 stacks, the Batrider is level 2, he won't necessarily kill, actually he might kill Quap. But even if he doesn't kill her, he will easily zone her off an entire creep wave, and the lane ends. The bottle timing's delayed, level 2 is delayed, level 3 is delayed, the lane becomes a disaster. But Quinn does not give him that opportunity, right? And because of that, he's able to contest the wave. And honestly, Stormstormer, once again, beast on the Batrider. Absolute beast. He's doing great, right? 4-2 to the 3-3, that's totally fine. As I said though, the lane gets harder as time goes on, so let's move on. One thing Quinn does well as well is that he takes both of the water runes. He blinks aggressively to the north side water rune, knowing that Batrider within 8 seconds of blink coming up cannot pressure him, right? This is not a big enough gap for Batrider to get in. And so the Batrider just got his bottle, but he focuses on getting this last hit. And even though Quinn doesn't have a bottle, he denies the charges from Batrider. And now Batrider has to play a minute and a half with no charges against level 2 dagger. And from here on out, it mostly comes down to just dagger, CS, and let the stacks reset very briefly, right? He definitely should let the stacks reset here. And he will, right? He'll let the stacks reset, and then he'll start to get to work on the Batrider, right? Level 2 dagger, you can kind of just run through the creep wave. You can see he's literally running past the creep wave, then he'll get a deny, he'll reset a bit, and then go again. The next thing Quinn does is buy a Glove of Haste, which is something I've seen a lot of mid players seemingly go for now. It's becoming a pretty popular build. And I think the reason why is it just allows you to contest more of everything. Like essentially, if you would go for a deny or go for a last hit, you might not be able to contest the following creep, right? And I feel like this build just kind of allows you to harass more in between the CS, and that's seemingly what he's going for. As now with level 5 dagger, which is 3 points dagger, the lane gets not impossible for Bat, but pretty close to that, right? Because the Bat's just feeding Quap mana with stick charges, and it doesn't go the other way around. Like, yes, you can buy stick against Quap, and I bet the Batrider has a stick. Oh no, he doesn't. Oh wow, so he went full greed build. He really rushed the boots, and he's gonna use them to go back to base, which seems pretty intelligent from Stormstormer. So like, very respectable, and once again, he's doing okay, right? He's actually doing like not bad at all. I thought this lane went way worse. To be fair, I guess he's buying a lot of regen because he is 600 gold behind, right? And no, maybe it is just CS. Yeah, Quinn does have about a 10 CS lead at this point, and it's just this slow build up. You don't have to dominate, and I think that's what these pros do well, right? They respect their opponents. They don't think like, oh, I have to dominate, you know, because Stormstormer, as I said, I think he played this lane pretty freaking well. Like, I even saw Twitch chat flaming him like, oh my god, Stormstormer is so bad, you know, like, how's he playing so bad this game? He was playing so well in the other games. It's like, what are you talking? You got hard counterpicked. You got counterpicked by multiple heroes. I think Bat is like kind of not good against Brood, to be honest. Personally, I don't think it is. I think Bat is really bad against Shadow Demon as well. When Shadow Demon gets the shard, he just perma purges, you know, whomever. So that pairing is pretty bad for Batrider as well. I'm not gonna lie, the next play was honestly just a big mistake from Stormstormer. I give him all this praise, and then I have to talk about him making a mistake. But yeah, he just what can you do? It's good recognition. Cloudburst getting dove. The deny on the dagger wasn't able to come out, and they get a kill. And yeah, of course, they're going to tip Stormstormer. From there, he does pick up the Kaya. He's going to go for Kaya. However, he picks up raindrops, which is just good for mana regen, good for early game fighting, right? It helps you survive the burst from Rubik and potentially Pangolier, right? So it's definitely nice to have the raindrops for a little bit of mana. He does get quite a bit of bottle refills, and I think it's just a smart play from Gaming Gladiators because they just kind of know like, hey, refilling mid's bottle, giga high value, because you have a winning mid matchup, you can kind of just push it over the edge. So yeah, he's gonna go Kaya. Why Kaya? I think Kaya is good this game because the best build he can go is more of like a magic damage frontline build. They don't have a frontline hero. Brood kind of is that, right? Kind of. But Brood isn't the best catch hero. She's okay because she has a slow, but it's not the best. Like Blink Dagger on Quap is much better, right? Because you can get there a bit faster. You can catch someone off guard. So I think I'm going Kaya Sanj, which is what he does, is not only good against Treant because you're not investing in any right click, right? You're not getting attack speed from Witchblade, for instance. You know, obviously he has attack speed from Treads, and I don't think Witchblade's like terrible against Treant. It gives you magic damage at the end of the day, but it's not insanely good. And so this allows him to just be this really strong frontliner. And honestly, Entity just simply lacks early game damage. They do. Treant lacks damage. It's very hard for Bat to kill Quap. Nanga isn't showing up. Rubik does limited damage, and Rubik has like minimal good steals this game, I feel. I actually think this is a pretty horrendous Rubik game, which is why I personally don't like that teams just blind pick Rubik. I get it. I think it's a good hero, but like some games it's just not that good. Like his steals this game are pretty limited, I'd say, overall. So the next important clip comes from Rune Control. At the end of the day, Rune Control is one of the most important parts of Pro Dota. One rune means you can play like a psychopath. The DD, Arcane, Haste runes, they change. Even something like Illusion Rune in a game like this against Naga, Bat, and Treant is insanely good. And so once he gets this Haste rune, it's just kind of go time, right? He doesn't pop it right away because he doesn't want to waste it, right? He doesn't want to pop it and feel like, oh, okay, I got no value out of the God rune. right? I would say Haste Rune is generally the best rune in the game, but we'll see him blink aggressively on Stormer's Batrider, Firefly currently on cooldown, and this is a situation where you're never chasing this guy without haste. Your blink's not even off cooldown, but with the haste rune, it allows them to kill off the Batrider, and that's why these runes are so broken. You can't take them into account. Like, no one's intuition is like, oh, this guy has a haste. You know what I mean? Like, no one's Dota intuition, no one's game skill is built around like haste. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not. So these runes always will catch your opponent off guard and allow you to win these early engagements because they also just make you super strong. From there, he's going to look to take the 9-minute rune, so very nice. He'll get the bounty rune, constantly looking for runes, also just allowing yourself to keep up that regen, keep up your resources. He'll move over briefly towards top here, and the reason why he does this, the reason why he's hovering top, is he counters Naga Siren. So if Naga tries to defend the tower against Brood, he can quickly shift over, throw out a Scream of Pain, and it will, shoo away the Naga, or they'll kill her. In this case, the Naga does not show up, so what Quinn's going to do is play somewhat like a psycho. He'll take away some of the small creeps from the Naga and then blink out. I think he was afraid of Naga net into lift into lasso. They do have a chain stun there, and so he blinks out, making the safe play, understanding that, hey, it's probably not a setup with two of their heavy farming cores. Let's be real, they're probably not connecting Naga and Batrider, but they could, so he plays it safe, and I respect that. From there, he gets another rune, which is really why, like, you have to shout out the supports, right? Gaming Gladiators, I mean, to be fair, when you win the mid lane, it's very easy to control the runes, because if you 50-50 the rune and you've won the lane, you're gonna get a kill, even if you don't get the rune. So, that helps. But the supports, right, they deserve some credit. They've done a great job at just putting down vision around the runes, showing up to the runes, bodying the runes, and so on, right? It really makes a big difference. As he'll go back and clear the mid wave, as he sees the Batrider, he's got a DD. Are they really gonna chase him down? Yeah, hookshot comes out. Oh, Firefly's on cooldown. Risky play from Stormer. They didn't know that they have this defensive ward, and they pick up another kill. Maxing out the Scream of Pain, by the way, next, as he considers blinking in, but instead he'll just clear the illusions and use the remainder of the DD to farm up a camp. From there, he's gonna blink back towards mid, just wants to push in the mid lane. He has a DD and a cart, meaning mid tier 1 pressure, right? And that's exactly what you're gonna see. DD rune is generally the best tower taking rune. Illusion isn't bad as well, but DD kind of allows you to fight and take the tower. So you'll see a lot of pros put mid pressure when they have a cart, but especially when they have a DD. From there, we see a very early level 10 talent take. There's a lot of quap builds that revolve around just not taking the level 10 talent. Now, it is one of the craziest level 10 talents in the game. 220 health is actually insane. However, yeah, people skip it because maxing out Blink, it's just really nice. The cast range increase from 1 to 4 is huge, even though it might not seem like a lot, it is. And then the cooldown halving is it just allows the hero to feel different. However, he takes the early talent, kind of just signaling, hey, I think you lack damage in the early game, right? He's got those raindrops as well. Even doesn't have his Belt of Strength in his inventory, so he could be even more tanky than he currently is. As unfortunately, he doesn't get a rune here, as he'll have to kill off the Naga illusions. And yeah, now he'll chill a bit, right? Like, a big thing about Dota that a lot of people get wrong is they'll see Quinn, like, killing the enemy team, getting a bunch of kills, and they'll think, like, the way he does this is by just, like, running at the closest person, or just running around, running into people. And that's not what it is. A lot of the time, he's pushing in the creep wave, right? He's establishing map control. For instance, here, his Brood's getting ganked. He doesn't panic TP top. He takes, or attempts to take mid tower. Unfortunately, they have a treant. What can you do? BS hero. Now, eventually, he's going to make a rotation to top here, and the reason why they're doing this is they're trying to kick the Pango off of the Brood. So basically, Brood counters Pango, Pango counters Brood, and it's just because you can clear the spiders with one swash. How is Toby such a high level? He's not farm, but he's such a high level. Sometimes levels is so weird. I don't know how it... Maybe it's just from killing spiderlings? I have no idea. Either way, yeah, the reason why they're making this rotation is they don't want to allow the Pango just to sit on the Brood. And so moving to top here is just really high skill. It's like kind of it's like a macro picture thing, right? It's like understanding the big picture, and pros are very, very good about this. Like, apparently Quinn, from what I've heard, is like one of the best players in the world at just kind of getting the big picture, right? Really understanding how to play the big picture. Now, NAD does a pretty good job of responding. However, they have to commit mass TPs, so it's not the end of the world. It's still like it's a solid rotation, and it gives Brood some information. Unfortunately, it doesn't fully kick the Pango out, so it's not the best thing in the world, but either way, they're making the rotation to the Pango and trying to kick him out. Next, we're going to see Quinn get a couple of kills mid. So once again, pushing in the mid wave, pretty standard stuff. You'll see him pushing in mid wave in the majority of games, the majority of the time. It's just the best way to get farmed, and as I said, like, protecting your mid tier 1 tower and pressuring the enemy mid tier 1 tower is probably, for mid players, is probably the most overlooked thing in the game. Like, I don't think people realize how much these towers mean. Like, truly. I'm honestly even surprised Gaming Gladiators did not put more of an emphasis on taking the enemy mid tower. They certainly have the heroes to do it, even against Treant. So maybe that's just a mistake on their part. I honestly feel like it is. I just can't imagine why you wouldn't try. I mean, it was low, right? The tower is like quite low. I feel like you could have maybe put an emphasis on it, but either way, let's not get too much into that. Maybe they just felt like they don't want to force it into the tree and they'll just farm 3 lanes, which is fair, right? The enemy team has a hard time making plays, so they can just make the decision to sort of chill if they want to. But yeah, as I said, I found it a bit surprising. In this next fight, once again, another haste rune. It's like every fight he takes, he has some stupid ass rune. Classic. Isn't Quinn known for getting good runes as well? It's kind of funny. He's had haste DD haste, unless I missed one. Yeah. Starts off the fight, doesn't blink in. Notice how he doesn't blink in. He uses his haste. Why not blink in? Well, you could get overgrowth. You could get lassoed. You could get songed into net, right? You don't want these things to happen. So he understands holding the blink, keeping that option open is way better in this case. A lot of co-ops will commit their blink forward immediately in every fight, no matter what, and it's just really bad. Even here, not blinking in. And you might be like, oh, it's because he has a haste speed. Yes, it's because he has a haste. But also, if someone overextends, don't blink on them. Just walk up dagger scream. If you can walk up dagger scream to initiate fights in the mid to late game, that's good, right? It probably means someone's out of position, and instead of blinking on them and putting yourself out of position as well, or further out of position, you can just walk up and cast your spells. It is an important adjustment to make. All right, next up, we're going to see a fight where I actually don't really feel like Quinn necessarily pops off. However, I think his BKB usage is probably the key thing that enables this fight to be very, very successful for the side of Gaming Gladiators, even though it ends up being a somewhat close fight. So, as we'll see, is Shadow Demon gets initiated on. And part of me actually felt that when Shadow Demon gets gone on here, they should just abort the fight, chill a bit, right? Their creep waves are good. Maybe they feel like they'll lose their mid tower if they don't fight. Maybe that's, I think they're just fighting, honestly, but we'll see. The Batrider gets hexed, and so he's gonna blink in, try to nuke out the Batrider. What's pretty crazy here is he cancels his dagger because the Batrider BKBs, and he's quick enough to pop his BKB before the lasso actually comes out. And that's obviously massive in this case, right? Super massive, because there's a pretty good chance he gets chain stunned and bursted if he doesn't get this off. But even though he gets overgrowth, the Shadow Demon is able to cleanse him with the Shadow Demon shard, and that allows him to blink away from the Naganet. He doesn't panic at all, actually, so he doesn't even blink. He's high skill enough to not panic, just hold it and wait. And now this fight ends up being a complete wrap. They committed the lasso and the overgrowth on the Quap. She takes practically no damage, partially in thanks to the Shadow Demon, who also heals her and purges her, and now they can chase on forward. The Brood slowing them down, hexing them up, and eventually Quinn will chase on, daggering up the Naga. She dispels it, but they chase, and I think they finish the Rubik as well. Ends up being a really beautiful fight off the bait and buyback of a nice Shadow Demon play. And from there, in terms of items, yeah, he went to Kaya Sanj, which is mostly just your ability to frontline, jump in, and not die. And we really saw that in that fight. His ability to jump in and bait spells is fantastic, right, because of this build. He also picks up the Plate Mail, and this is really just a Naga Siren counter. It's pretty good against Pango too, because Pango also reduces your armor, so there's two sources of minus armor on the side of Entity. The Riptide from the Naga, and the Lucky Shot from the Pangos. So yeah, picking up a Plate Mail, and then of course building that Plate Mail into Shivas, which is like the best item in the game against illusion carries. It's just really great, right? So eventually he'll pick up that Shivas, once again solidifying his ability to blink in and just not die. And finally, to end off the game, we're going to see probably what is the final fight of the match. And what I think Quinn does well in this fight is he understands that Batrider is just not that great against Quap, right? It's certainly a playable matchup. Maybe Batrider can get off a good lasso and burst the Quap, as she can be squishy. But at this point, he has status resist from Titan Sliver, magic resist from Titan Sliver, Kaya Sanj status resist, potentially BKB, right? He's just very, very hard to kill. So the Shivas and the dagger basically immediately forces out a BKB from Batrider, right? Because he understands, like, if he gets chipped too low, by the time he BKBs, he'll just die to physical damage, right? Because he actually took, for a bit of extra knowledge, at level 15, he did take 30 attack speed. He didn't take it at level 15, he maxed out his spells and then skilled it. And at level 20, he took Scream of Pain damage. That might seem weird. Why not take 40-second Sonic Wave cooldown? The problem with 40-second Sonic Wave cooldown is it brings it down to a 50-second cooldown, which is a big difference, don't get me wrong. And it definitely is nice for playing some sort of tempo, but you're not going to get off 2 of them in a fight, and that's what feels bad, where you're going to get off 3 Screams of Pains in a fight. And that's an extra 360 damage. It's also way better for farming, so it's just kind of overall better, right? It seems cool to buff the ulti up, but that's not even really what you play around on Quap. Like, it's important, but honestly, Scream of Pain and having it slightly better, or actually much better, it's like 33% better, is As he hits a big ulti. But yeah, just zones out the Batrider, finds the ping on the outside. And really in these team fights, he's done a great job of... Oh, is he actually... Was that a cat? There's no way this is an ironic late Witchblade. Does he think this is good? I guess Witchblade's kind of good the later the game goes, right? Because at this point, he has so much int from just levels and Shivas, where it does... He has about 150 int. It's 0.75 of that, which is like 120 int-ish. And that's 4 times. That's actually a lot of damage. On a 9-second cooldown? Oh, wow. Huh. Late Witchblade. I can't imagine. There's no way he would ironically or buy an item as a meme because they think they won. There's just no way. He must think it's good. I mean, I can see why it's good, right? You like blink and you hit someone, you dagger, and if they don't have a BKB or a Dispel, immediately that's half their health. With dagger, half of the majority of the support's health. And when it comes to a hero like Batrider, it's guaranteed forcing BKB. I don't know. It seems... The numbers seem to check out. I actually can totally see it. It's just weird. I rarely see that. But okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this analysis of the Quinn of Pain. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.